Hey, everybody. Let me know if the audio is okay. Coming on just a few minutes early just to make sure everything can hear everything. Excuse the nose. I've got a zit on my nose, or there was a zit on my nose. So a little embarrassing. So let me know if the audio is okay. And let me get my mic over here. Okay, there we go. Let me know how that sounds. I brought the mic a little closer. All right. So we'll wait a few minutes just for everybody to get online because we started a few minutes early. We're gonna, well, I'll talk about it in a minute, but we'll wait a couple minutes and make sure everybody gets online. We've got 140 so far. It's more than Lionel had. I started building my layout in 2007, and it's not really finished, but I suppose it was in a state where it was presentable, where you could take it for finished, probably around 2015, 2016, something like that. The big green bridge went live in 2014, I think. So somewhere around there, although it's not finished. I've actually been doing a lot of work on it lately, both underneath and on the layout. If you have any questions now, you can ask now while I'm looking at the chat. While I'm talking during the show, I'm not going to be looking at the chat as often. Lisa's going to be writing down some questions if she sees any good ones. The moderators will, but I won't be looking directly at the chat. So you can ask a couple now, and then I'll do a Q&A section. We'll do a Q&A later. I will answer that question about the Atlas cars in just a minute. Actually, the answer to that is connected to the new Lionel catalog. All right, we're almost at 200. Wow, that's cool. So it's just going to be me tonight. The last time I did one of these catalog shows, I had a few people on. That show dragged on for a long time. I think people were getting a little bored toward the end, and then it also we also kind of went down into a little bit dark, a lot of criticisms and stuff like that. It took on a little bit of a negative hue, and so I wanted to keep things positive today, and and not to mention it's not a big catalog, so there's really no point in having a bunch of people weigh in on it. And I'm not going to be talking much about the catalog as much as the situation around it. Will Lisa and I be attending York in October? Yeah, right now we are planning to attend, although we haven't bought our tickets yet, but we will soon, the plane tickets. All right, so it's 8:01. I guess we can get started, and a few other people might trickle in. If I look away from the camera, it's just because I've got screens on either side that I'm looking at, so don't worry about that. So I'm going to try to keep this. The goal is to keep it around an hour or so. We can go as long as you want, but I'll get through the main stuff first, and then we can sort of discuss other stuff later if you want. So I want to do a few announcements first before we get started with the Lionel catalog. So first of all, I want to thank our moderators. I got 2 moderators in the chat this evening, Tony and Zach. So Tony and Zach, thanks for doing that, and they will keep anybody from getting out of line. Although because only subscribers can chat. Hopefully that'll cut down on the nonsense. Although I'm sure some people will still go off and have to be blocked or whatever. But hopefully hopefully you guys will make their job easy, and they can just relay questions to me instead of having to police everybody's too much. Next, I want to talk about the Eric's Trains custom runs. Give you some updates as to where things are at. So first up, we've got the, and I guess I'll do this in order of when when they were announced. But so first up, we've got the flat car with trailers. This is coming in very soon. If you ordered one, they are on the water. They might even be at Lionel. They should be arriving at Legacy Station, I think, any day now. That's what I've been told. Of course, with all the situations going on in the world, that might change. But supposedly they're on the water and their arrival is imminent. So if you ordered one, hopefully you will get one soon. When they arrive, I, of course, will go to Legacy Station and sign them and put a sticker on each one of them, and then they'll ship them off. So there will probably be a delay of a day or two before Legacy Station starts shipping them out, because we got to go over there and do all that. I think there's, do you remember how many of the flat cars we sold? I think it's 100, or maybe might be 150, something like that. So it'll be a busy day of signing and putting stickers on stuff. The next thing is the Vision Line Hudson, the Appalachian and Western Vision Line Hudson. Obviously, this is probably going to be delayed because of the situation that is going on these days. Lionel hasn't said it's delayed, but I'm guessing it's probably going to be a little delayed. If everything goes well, I would expect it to arrive sometime between October and December of this year, but I would probably bet it's going to be later than that. I don't know for sure, but that's what I'm guessing because of all the delays and whatnot, all that we'll talk about in just a little bit. So the Hudson, I don't really have any news on it, but except that it's coming at some point, probably be delayed. Now we've got, and then the last custom run I want to talk about is the new ones that I just announced a couple weeks ago. The Appalachian Mountaineer passenger car 4-pack that is meant to go with the Hudson. So we did the Hudson, and when I announced the Hudson, I said if we sold enough of those to put them into production, which we did, we would do some passenger cars to go with it later on. And so we did sell enough of the Hudsons, and so now we are going to be starting off with a 4-pack of passenger cars. These are going to be made by Atlas instead of Lionel because, well, you can see right there the price tag. It's $579 for the 4-pack. If this was a 4-pack of Lionel 21-inch cars, it would be what, $1,100, something like that. And seeing as everyone was already spending $1,700 plus on the Vision Line Hudson, I wanted to try to make the passenger cars as affordable as possible. And so that's why we're going with the Atlas. Now, these are the XMTH streamlined passenger cars. If you guys have seen those before, same cars, just being made under the Atlas banner now. They are bulletproof. They're rock solid. Sorry, I was reading a text from somebody. They are rock solid. They're bulletproof. They'll run forever. They're fantastic. And they have passengers on the inside. So they're going to be great. And the pre-order price is $579. Now, technically, the deadline to order these has passed. However, Legacy Station has told me that they're still going to keep taking orders until Atlas tells them to stop, which they haven't. So if you have not pre-ordered these and you want them, you need to contact Legacy Station and order them ASAP. Because they're going to stop taking orders as soon as Atlas tells them to, which could be any day now. It could be tomorrow, it could be next week, but it's going to stop. So I was surprised how many people, I talked to some people who were like, oh, I love those cars, I'm going to get them. I haven't ordered them yet. And I said, well, when I announced them, I said the deadline was the 9th, and it's the 14th now, or 15th. So if you want them, you got to order them, but they're going to be great. I've got some close-ups. Now I do have we do have a change on the passenger cars. When I originally announced them, the names on the passenger cars were going to be the names of my pets and the street that I live on. So there was going to be an Overhill. I think Overhill was, I forget which car it was, but there was Overhill, there was Chessie, there was Frisco, and there was Aurora, which is Lisa and I's dog. I changed that because the it occurred to me, I almost put those as the final design, but it occurred to me that there's a much better naming convention and something that is scalable. So if we do additional cars in the future, which we most likely will, we can keep the same naming convention and also give them a little more Appalachian Mountain meaning to them and stuff like that. And so what I did is, and it all came to me because I was just looking at Google Maps. I was looking at a map of North Carolina randomly, and I realized, oh my gosh, there's so many lakes up in North Carolina and North Georgia that I love, that have a lot of memories of, and I still go to a lot. And so I'm going to name these cars after some of the lakes that I like the most up in the sort of North Georgia, Western North Carolina, Eastern Tennessee area. So here we have let me see here. So the coach car is going to be renamed Allatoona for Lake Allatoona. That is actually right by my house. I live about 5 minutes from Lake Allatoona. The dome car is now Tallulah Falls for Tallulah Falls Lake, which is a lot of people probably know about it. It's over there, North Georgia, but east of me. I got some good stories about that, but Tallulah Falls Lake. Well, if you want to hear that story, let me know in the chat and I'll tell it to you. I don't want to digress too much, but Tallulah Falls is going to be the dome car. This is my favorite. Jocassee is going to be the diner car after Lake Jocassee in South Carolina. I have a lot of childhood memories of sailing on Lake Jocassee. There was a summer camp I went to up in North Carolina, and we would go. Jocassee was one of the lakes we would go sailing on. And then, last but not least, the observation car will be Fontana after Lake Fontana up in North Carolina, which is probably the most meaningful to me. I went there a lot when I was a kid. I sailed on there at the summer camp. And in my adult life, I've camped pretty much everywhere all over that lake. The Appalachian Trail, Great Smoky Mountains National Park, everywhere. I know that lake like the back of my hand. It's a beautiful lake. And one of the coolest things about Fontana is that the North Shore is a national park. So there's only so crowded it'll ever get. The North Shore is completely uninhabited. And even the South Shore is pretty sparse. So yeah, it's so Fontana is going to be the observation car. So Tallulah Falls, Jocassee, Fontana, and Allatoona. And this way, when we do additional cars, I'll just pull from the list of other lakes. Probably the next ones will be Toxaway for Lake Toxaway in I think it's in South Carolina, and then the other one will be Chatuge for Lake Chatuge up in North Georgia. And then we can just keep going because there's about 1 million lakes up there, and they're so it should be cool. I really like these names. I was so happy that this occurred to me before I finalized the design. I think it gives these things much more of the names are cooler, and they have mountainy names. It just sounds like the car names you might have on a railroad that has the word Appalachian in its name. So really, really happy about that. And again, the pre-order price $579. If you haven't ordered them yet, make sure you do that ASAP because the deadline has technically passed. So that's it for the custom runs. Now we'll get into the Now we'll get into the Lionel announcement. Oh, one more announcement. Lisa just put this on my desk. My open house this year. I do an open house every year for the layout. That's part of the Piedmont pilgrimage. And my open house, I've been doing it since like 2011 or something like that. The open house, I usually do it the Saturday before Thanksgiving, but we've changed it this year. It's going to be on Saturday, November 8th from 10 to 5 p.m. If you go to the Piedmont Pilgrimage website, piedmontpilgrimage.com, you can find all the information and driving directions and all that stuff. It's free of charge. You don't have to RSVP. You just have to show up and you can come and enjoy the layout and the trains and talk to me and maybe see Jesse if he's around and talk to Lisa and have some food and fun and all that kind of stuff. So open house November 8th. Now, let's talk about the Lionel catalog or July release, as they are calling it. So let me share my screen. Let's see here. Share screen. And we'll do that. Okay. So, yeah, I think the November 8th might make it easier for people to come. Okay, so we've got the announcement. Let me put it back to page 1. Now, I don't want to sit here and talk all night about the economy and tariffs, but it's vital that people understand what's going on here. Now, Lionel did a live show earlier today, and in that live show, they said that the reason they were doing this small release was that they wanted to do a small release, and then they'll do one later this year, and that will allow them to get a better pulse on what people want for the holiday, for the holiday season and all that kind of stuff. And that may be the reason, but I'm going to give you my own opinion on what's going on here. And I just want to say I don't work at Lionel. I haven't talked to anybody at Lionel. I don't know. I've talked to some train dealers. That's about the extent of the people I've talked to. But this is just me voicing my opinion, kind of putting 2 and 2 together. I wish Lionel was a little more transparent about it, but I think they just want to keep on trucking ahead. That may be the reason they're doing it. I'm sure that's part of the reason they're doing it. But let's be honest, the reason that they're doing such a small release is it begins and ends with one word: tariffs. These tariffs, I don't know if you guys, how much you guys keep track of this. These tariffs are really causing all sorts of turmoil for businesses, especially small businesses like train makers. It's causing havoc, not only because of the tariffs themselves, but also because of the volatility of it. I mean, they're changing all the time. I mean, one day they're 10%, one day they're 30, one day they're 60. They were 145% at one point. And so if I was running a small company like Lionel or any train maker, I mean, I would be terrified. This would be a nightmare, honestly, because you just don't know what's happening. You don't know what the end cost is going to be, which makes it really hard to do business. And so my sympathy goes to all the train makers. And I know a lot of people have been negative about the new release and negative about Lionel and negative about their prices and this and that. And I really want to make a plea to everybody to I think we need to pull together with this. Make it in America. Yeah, not going to happen. We really need to pull together and support the train makers until they get through this, because I mean, honestly, when the tariffs were at 145%, I worried about the future of these train companies. I mean, they might just fold, because how can you do business when there's 145% markup on something that's already really expensive? And I think it affects Lionel even more so because they make the most expensive of all the trains. And so you know, I can't imagine, the conversations they're having to have. And so, you know, my advice to everybody is we really need to be positive and supportive. Yes, the prices are high. Yes, the release is small. They're doing the best they can. And I think we all need to pull together and support them. And that means continuing to buy trains, even if you buy fewer trains because of the prices, because they need our support to get through this. And who knows how long this is going to last until this this tariff stuff gets resolved. It's a very complicated situation. They can't move the manufacturing back to the U.S. It just can't happen. I'm not gonna go into why that would take hours, but I'll give you two reasons. I'll give you two bits of advice if you're one of these people who thinks, oh, just bring it back to the U.S. Number one, just go on Google and search in Google and say, why can't things be made in the USA? And you will get a laundry list of reasons, only one of which that it's more expensive. In some cases, they just can't make certain things here. We no longer have the skills. We don't have the people with the skills. We don't have the knowledge. It all moved overseas. It took decades to move overseas. It would take decades to move it back. So, I mean, you just, you just can't do it. It just can't be done. And so, you know, so there's that. And then the other thing I would say, after you Google why things can't be made in the USA, there's a video on YouTube, and I have a snapshot of it here. Anybody who wonders why we can't make these trains in the US, go watch this video. It's by a channel called Smarter Every Day. And in this video, he tried to make something in America, 100% in America. And he's making a grill brush, okay? A grill brush for brushing your grill. Not very complicated. What is a grill brush? It's some injection molded plastic, combined with metal, and it's sheet metal, and it's some chainmail for the scrubbing element. You can see it, he's holding it on the right there in his left hand. That simple grill brush, he could not make it 100% in the USA. Most of it is made here. But even the simple grill brush, he could not make the entire thing here. That's how bad the situation is, folks. There's some things that just simply cannot be made here. So if you can't make a grill brush here, what about a train with electronics and complicated die casting and all that kind of stuff? So watch that video, and it's an amazing video. And he has clips of interviews with Tim Cook from Apple, talking about how Apple doesn't make things in China because of the cost. They make them in China because nobody else knows how to do it. And he has interviews with other manufacturers. I mean, it is a fantastic video. Do yourself a favor, watch it, and that will answer why Lionel can't just move it back here. It took decades to lose all these skills in industry. It would take decades to bring it back. And it just, for all intents and purposes, it's not going to happen. So anyway, there's that. But so I think we need to pull together and support Lionel. Yes, the prices are high, but I mean, you can see it here. I mean, in my opinion, this is why we're getting this limited release, because, yeah, see, guys, trains, go watch that video. I'm telling you, go watch the video and then make an educated comment. I'm telling you, it's amazing. It'll blow your mind how bad the situation here in this country is, where we don't even have the skills to make the stuff here anymore. I mean, it's not that we can't or that it's more expensive or we won't. It's that we can't because we don't have the skills. You might as well try to make it on the moon. I mean, really. So watch that video. I guarantee you'll thank me after you watch it. Anyway, so I think with Lionel, I think they had three choices, okay? They could, what's your point? I'm making the point. They had three choices when it came to this little release. They could, number one, they could do a full catalog like they always do and have super high prices on everything, and also unpredictable prices, because who knows what the tariffs are going to be when stuff gets shipped. Have their steam engines, which are the most expensive things in the catalog, have them be super expensive, have everybody be pissed off. That's option one. Option two is they could do no catalog and just skip it and say, we're not going to do anything until we know what's going on. They couldn't do that. They go out of business. They got to sell trains. And then number three is what they did. You do a limited release of some stuff that is relatively less expensive, diesel. You try, maybe they're probably, if I was them, I'd be trying to move that over to Vietnam or somewhere else. And so I think that's what they're doing. They're doing the most logical thing, which is to do a limited release with such a fluid situation with the economy and tariffs. That's all you can do is do a limited release and just take it as it comes. And hopefully, they said in the video that they'll do another release later this year. That's why, because they're hoping that later this year, the tariff thing will maybe have stabilized a little more, or maybe they'll have moved some additional manufacturing over to Vietnam or somewhere, and they can say, okay, here are some steam engines, and now we can make them for a price that is high but not insane. I mean, the Santa Fe set is MSRP for $5,000. Can you imagine if that was a steam set? It'd be $8,000. So yeah. Anyway, I'm done talking about that. That's all I'm going to say. There's a reason why they're doing this, and I agree. It's the only logical thing they could do. So let's take a look at the catalog, and we'll talk more about it. And I'm sorry if I rambled on. I've been working all day to try to keep this as concise as possible without rambling. I could talk for the next 2 hours about tariffs and manufacturing and stuff, but go watch that video I recommended. That'll explain it all. Okay, so my only constructive criticism for Lionel on this release and on their video they did, I think we would all have appreciated some sort of an explanation. Even if they came out and said, guys, we don't know what's going on. Things are unstable. Just bear with us. We're trying to do the best we can. Here's what we've got right now. I think a letter from Howard Hitchcock in the beginning of the catalog would have gone a long way to get people on their side and get people, emotionally on their side and saying, hey, we understand. Yeah. So, okay. So I find it hard. Now, I'm really happy about this release, obviously, because it's got the Santa Fe Super Chief Superset. This is something I've been begging Lionel to do, especially for the 125th anniversary. It's fitting for the 125th anniversary. So I'm really happy with this. Super happy about it. It's appropriate. It's what I wanted. So I'm super thrilled. Now, it is expensive. Yes, it does have a almost $5,000 MSRP, but keep in mind that dealers have been posting their prices today after it was released, and most dealers are listing this around $4,100, somewhere around there, somewhere between $4,000 and $4,200. So it's not quite this high in reality. Still very high, but not as high. Now, I think all things considered, with the tariffs and inflation and everything where they are, I really have to hand it to Lionel for doing everything they could to make this set as kick-ass as possible. I mean, yes, it's got a $4,900 MSRP, but man, there's nothing more they could have packed in here other than making the engines out of die-cast metal. I mean, there's nothing. I mean, look, you got 4 units, 3 of them are powered, all 4 have sound, all 4 have smoke. They've never done that before with an ABBA set with all 4 having sounds. And then you've got 8 passenger cars, 4 with sound and 1 with a camera. I mean, I think they did the right thing, which is, hey, if it's going to be expensive, let's at least put everything we got into this set so that they're getting a lot for they're paying a lot, but they're also getting everything we got. And I think they did that. I think they really did that. I mean, I can't think of anything that I would criticize other than the high price. What's bad to say about it? It's got everything. I mean, this is just an incredible set. And so I'm definitely going to order one. And actually, I'll probably be saving money because since this isn't a big catalog, my total order won't be as big as a normal catalog. So I'm okay. I'm going to order this set. I've asked for it. I wanted it. I'm super excited about it. It's a total, and I hope it comes in a really cool looking box. That's the other thing I hope. It'd be really cool if it came in some cool 125th anniversary box. I don't know if they'll do that, but hopefully they'll do something cool. It does say it's all going to come in all one box. So, and I forgot to mention, the cars also have passengers. Um, Ryan said it says it in the catalog. Ryan said it during the show. So they're even putting passengers in there. I mean, I think that shows that Lionel was really doing everything they can to put everything they can into this set. So I'm cool with it. Now I know some people brought up the whole um what was it, the passenger train that was done before, that incident with the passenger, with where there were, it said there were going to be passengers and then there weren't passengers. um that happened, but this not only says it, but Ryan actually said it himself. He said they've got passengers. So, I mean, I don't think there's any more, other than the price being high. I don't think you could ask anything more out of this set. I think it's great. And they've also got the add-on cars if you want to make it even bigger. So, I, I love this. I can't find anything bad to say about it other than, the price is a little high, but what are you going to do? By the way, everything's expensive these days. Do you know what the average price of a car is in 2025? $48,000. That's the average price of a new car. Everything's expensive. So, that's just the way it is. But I love this set. It's great. It's great. Um, I couldn't ask for anything more. Now, I think it's funny because before Lionel had announced this, I I had ordered. I've always wanted a really nice Santa Fe passenger set because Santa Fe is one of my favorite railroads, and so I ordered the third rail Golden Gate Depot Santa Fe passenger set, the 6-car set that they're coming out with. They actually just today they released the artwork, I think, that they got back. And I knew when I ordered that set, I said, if I order this set, I know Lionel is going to do a Lionel set. That's just the way the world works. And sure enough, I ordered that set, and here we are. Um, yeah. So, but that third rail set's going to be so cool. I can't wait for it. Let me get back to the old catalog here. And then there's, they got the F units. Now, one criticism or one request that I did hear from a lot of people was that they wish that the Santa Fe ABBA was available without the passenger cars, and I think that's a valid request. Although it's a superset, they wanted just to do the big superset. It's a premium set. I get it. You can't win them all, but I like these. I like these other F units, the Santa Fe, the Lackawanna. I know Peachy's going to be happy about the ACL. So a really, really nice job there. And then we've got the SD38s, which someone tell me, when was the last time they did the SD38? It's been a while, I think, hasn't it? But oh, I like that. I like that New Haven. That's real, very post-war. This New Haven set's very post-war. I like that. But we got the SD38s. It's been, and they look great. I don't know if I'm going to order one of these, considering the expense of the superset, but I'll think about it. Yeah, someone said Third Rail was releasing a new catalog. Steam's coming back, but the last Steam engine Third Rail did was $5,000 when they did that. What was it? The Allegheny. That was $5,000, folks. So we got the SD38 there, very nice, and $699 for the retail. It's not insane. I've seen some dealers listing it, the pre-order price, for $630, which is a little more reasonable. So all things considered, I think it's okay. I think they did a good job, and they've got the the 250th anniversary of America theme going throughout this catalog, starting with this, starting with the SD38. Then we've got another set. We've got this North Coast Limited with the F3s and the passenger. This is a beautiful set too. I don't think I'm going to get it because I'm getting the super set, but this would be a nice train. I mean, this is really tempting. I like this. Let me know what you guys think about it. Then we've got the SD50s, and these have the kinematic pilots now. I believe they have the, yeah, they put the kinematic pilots on these, which is great. I don't think did the SD50s have the kinematic pilots last time? I can't remember. I don't know if that's new or not, but these look great. I'm really attracted to that Lakeshore Railway version. That looks great. Also, that Hudson Bay, those look really cool too. So I will probably order one of these. I like them. They're good. And again, $6.99, not cheap, but not insane. So I think all things considered, that's okay. Then we've got more SD38s. And I think these look great. I love the DTNI. That Cargill one looks really sharp. I'm really thinking about the Cargill one. The Conrail looks sharp. I mean, okay, the last run of 38s was in 2019, and they were $5.99. So yeah, it's $100 more than it was in 2019. Again, all things considered, with inflation and tariffs and all, I think it's reasonable. I think it's about as good as you can get. The Conrail, it does look sharp. I no, I have a Conrail SD38 that they put out last time, so I won't need the Conrail this time. Then we've got this one, and I think this one is a sleeper set. I think this is going to be a really cool set. I'm thinking about it. I mean, it's considering I'm getting the super set, I don't know, but this is a really sharp looking set. I like that patch job on the Conrail. The price, all things considered, $1,400 retail. You'll probably be able to get it for like maybe $1,200 or something like that. I think it's nice, and I like it, and I think, I think they're making an effort to give you a somewhat sane price on a cool set. I like it. It's great. And again, I'm thinking about it. I kind of like it. I'll just have to see what the budget says about it. Then we've got then we get into the freight. We've got the PS1 box cars. Those look great. They kind of speak for themselves. I probably won't get one. If I did get one, I'd probably get a Southern or a Santa Fe. And then we've got more. We got the 60-foot box cars, $140. I don't know what they were last time, but it's not if it's an increase, it's not a huge increase. Got some nice cabooses. I might get the I might get the Burlington caboose. I have some chassis cabooses. I like that one. That looks sharp. But I might get the Burlington. We'll see. We'll see. I got to think about these. And then we got the covered hoppers. They look great. I like that MKT one. The Erie Lackawanna looks great. Expressway for Industry. I like that. So that's DT. Was that DTNS? So that looks great. I mean, it's $100. It's reasonable, and then we get in the Lion Chief. We've got these Lion Chief NW2s. Now they did a misprint. They put $259, which would be fantastic, but that was a misprint. They said it's $499, which is, it is what it is. It's I think it's reasonable, all things considered. These NW2s are going to be nice. I really like these ones. I like that Sioux line. I like that Southern. I'm tempted to get that Southern, but I don't know. We'll see. These are great. I have one of the I think I have a Seaboard NW2 that they did a few years ago. That's really nice. So these are great. I love these. And then we get into the 250th anniversary stuff. If that's your thing, I won't be getting any of it because I got to put the budget money elsewhere, but I think this stuff looks great. They said in the live chat that this is a newly tooled 440, even though it looks very similar to the one they used to do. They said they've made a lot of improvements to it with the gearing and stuff like that. And they said it's an all new tooling. They said they still have the older 440, but this is a new tooling. So could be cool. I don't think I'll order one, but it looks cool. I like the illuminated fireworks on the box car. That's cool. This 250th anniversary set, it's semi-scale, but I mean, I think, 439. I think the set includes does it include the track? I don't know. Yeah, 8 pieces of track. So it includes the track. Good starter set. More 250th anniversary stuff. Kind of speaks for itself. The box car has the lighted flag, which is nice. I've got a UP version of that with the lighted flag. It looks really cool, especially in the dark. Datafied, I like your channel too. And then we've got our notable Americans. It's funny, they're not doing the presidential now; they're doing the notable Americans, so they can do first ladies, which is cool. I think that's cool. And they got more of the World War II box cars going on. These are kind of staples in every catalog, it seems. And then we got Lion Chief engines and standalone 440. And then we got Star Wars. And I have to say now, I'm not going to go down the rabbit hole of the Star Wars stuff because I have enough rabbit holes in this hobby. But I have to say, the Phantom, the Phantom locomotives look really cool. And oh man, I'm tempted. I honestly, I'm a bit tempted. Yeah, I'm gonna have to resist that one, but those look cool. I love the Phantom, and so yeah. Now, one thing that I really like here, they bringing back the cell tower, but they're also bringing back a cell tower disguised as a tree, which I think is fantastic. I am going to order one of these because I'm actually looking to add a second cell tower on my layout, and this is going to be it. I love that. That's great. We've got those all over here in Atlanta. They always look stupid. There's one near my mom's house. It's in the middle of a parking lot, so there's no other trees around it, and it looks like this fake cell tower tree. It's really funny. But yeah, definitely going to order that one. And that's it. So yeah, a really brief, concise offering. As I said, I think it was a deliberate thing. I think it's tariff induced. And I think given how fluid the tariff situation is right now, I think they're doing the smart thing. And I think I don't have any problem with them doing it this way. I'm sure they'll bring back Steam as soon as the situation stabilizes, or they're able to move it to Vietnam or maybe Korea or somewhere. But yeah. Is there a Halloween train that I'm skipping? I don't think there was a Halloween train, was there? Oh, there it is. Okay. Well, that's just the custom run advertisement. So now you'll notice when we talk about, you see it says printed and assembled in USA, assembled, not made, assembled. The trucks and stuff are made overseas. They just do the printing in-house at Lionel. I've seen their printers. They're really cool. But the actual parts and everything come from overseas. So and that's that. And that's everything in the catalog. So let me come back here. So yeah, I think it's a really, given what's going on, I think Lionel is doing the smart thing. They're doing the logical thing. Oh, there's Lisa. And they're doing the only thing they can. And I think it's our job to, huddle up and support all these train makers and get them through this, because honestly, I would call it a crisis. I don't know what they're calling it, but I would call it a crisis. I mean, this tariff stuff is is just throwing everyone for a loop. Um, and it's going to hurt the small companies the most. You know, big companies like Walmart or Amazon or Apple, they're big enough where they can weather the storm. They have the means to prepare to weather the storm. Small companies, you know, cottage industries, they're the ones that are suffering the most. And I think we need to be positive. I think we need to give them a break and um, and support them any way we can, which means buying new trains. Even if you can't afford, if you have to buy only one instead of two, you know, do what you have to do. But that's my perspective on it. And I want to try to keep it positive because there's far too much negativity out there. There's far too many people just yelling at Lionel, and they're the victim. I mean, the tariffs aren't their fault. It's not the train store's fault. There's nothing they can do about it. You know, they're getting a gut punch by the government, and you know, I think we have to stay positive and support them. So, um, you know, in my latest product review that I wrote for OGR magazine, I actually put a blurb about that at the end, where I said, you know, the prices are high. Nobody likes that, but you know, we're very spoiled. We've had it so good, and we really need to pull together and be thankful to these train companies for doing what they do. Um, this kind of stuff could easily put a small company out of business, and so it's our job to really pull together and support them to keep the hobby alive. Because I don't think anybody here, as much as anybody hates Lionel, I don't think anybody wants to see Lionel go away. And so it's my patriotic duty to support them. Nah, I just want the help. I do it for selfish reasons. I want them to be in business so I can keep getting trains. So anyway, I'm going to we'll take some questions here. Let me see here. I can start a Q&A, and let's see if this works. I've never done this before. Okay, I think I don't know how it looks to you guys, but I've got a Q&A section going. I don't know if Lisa can tell me what it looks like on her end. I don't know what it looks like on your guys' end, but I think the chat and the Q&A is going at the same time. So can you see both? Okay, cool. So someone says the Hiawatha review coming soon. Oh yeah, that's a hot topic. Okay, so yes, there is a Hiawatha video coming at some point. Okay, let me put it this way. I did a video about a year ago where I listed the top, I think 11 or 12 trains that Lionel should bring back. Lionel trains that have been absent from their catalog for a long time. And number one on that list was the Hiawatha. Okay, so I was over the moon when they brought it back. And I guess you could say I am putting my money where my mouth is as far as the Hiawatha goes. I've gone a little crazy with the Hiawathas, and so when I do the video, it is going to be the definitive Hiawatha video. Let me tell you, because well, let me show you. And this is probably going to piss some people off, but that's okay. All right, so there we go. So this is the 2024 catalog that the Hiawatha was in. Okay, and let me scoot forward to the Hiawatha. Okay, so this whole adventure with the Hiawatha started. Now, I should point out, I should preemptively point out that The reason this insanity is happening is because of the tariffs indirectly, because the tariffs have caused delays in stuff arriving, which means that I've had money that would normally go towards stuff that has arrived to use for trains that I've wanted to get but haven't been able to get up until now. So that's the reason why this is happening. So in a way, the tariffs are kind of helping me catch up and get cross a lot of things off my wish list, if you will. If that makes sense. I hope that makes sense. Anyway, so so when it started off, I started off by ordering Hiawatha number 4 and the 7 passenger cars that went with it. All right. When that arrived, I fell in love with it. It was so awesome. It's an incredible engine, an incredible set, all aluminum passenger cars, just incredible. So then the next thing I did was I added the Union Pacific version and the 7 passenger cars. So then I had 2 of these things in the collection. And then time moved on. Now this happened over a period of many, many, many months. It didn't happen all in one day or anything. Then I decided, well, I like that Seaboard. I found it for a good price, and so I added the Seaboard. So now the Seaboard is in the collection. So Milwaukee Road, Seaboard, and Union Pacific. Okay. We're getting insane here. This is bordering on some sort of mental OCD thing, psychological problem. Then a few months later, I said, maybe I should just go the whole gambit and add the Chicago Northwestern. So I did. So now I have the Milwaukee Road, the UP, the Seaboard, and the Chicago Northwestern. The entire sets, the locomotive and the 7 passenger cars. Okay. You see where we're going here? This is clinical psychological stuff going on here. I might add that during this time, Lisa has been happy, and she actually married me midway through all this stuff. So that's the more incredible part. So then I said, I've already gone this far. Why don't I just go all the way? And so then I start. Okay, so now the locomotive of the year, I probably would have gotten that one next, but you can't find it anywhere. I've seen someone with a video of it. Marty, I think someone did a video of it, so it does exist, but it's hard to find. I couldn't find it anywhere. So, so the next one to be crossed off the list was Hiawatha number 1 over here, because I figured, well, I've already got one with the little dancing lady on there. I'll get the one without it. And then some time passed, and then I added Hiawatha number 2, which is currently on the way here. It's in shipping. It should arrive tomorrow, in fact. No. Yeah, tomorrow. Now, then there's these other 7 passenger cars. Now, these ones I have not added yet, but I think I will. They're not, I haven't done them yet. I got to wait a while before my wallet recovers. But then I thought, okay, well, if I do all these, well, then the question is going to be, well, what about the Christmas Hiawatha? You forgot about the Christmas Hiawatha. So now we move to the very back of the catalog, and we come to the Christmas Hiawatha. And I just ordered that. That's also being shipped. And I already have the 4 passenger cars. I don't have the 3-pack yet, but that's in the future. So you see what's going on here? Do you see the mental illness that is unfolding here? Um, it's gone from let's get the Hiawatha. It's really cool. I love it, and I'll do a video on it. To now, it's gone to let's just go for broke. Let's literally and go for insanity and just get every single one of them except the locomotive of the year. Sadly, I can't find that anywhere. If anybody sees one, let me know. But uh, so the answer to the the answer to the question is there a Hiawatha video coming? Yeah, there is, and it's going to be an epic video that will answer every question you've ever had about the Lionel Hiawatha model and the aluminum passenger cars. Will be addressed in that video, and yeah, and so yeah, so see now you can see why I'm not so mad about Lionel having a small July release rather than a big huge catalog, because this fits perfectly into my Hiawatha disability. So yeah. So there's going to be a video on the Hiawathas. There's going to be a video on the Christmas Hiawatha, probably released around the holidays. Yeah. So yeah, and I want to point out that Lisa has been here the whole time, witnessing this, and been okay with it. And she even said, "I do." Was it 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago now? I think she's outside. 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, on June 28th, she even said "I do" in the middle of this whole mania. On the day of the wedding, okay, one of the Hiawathas arrived. So, yeah. So I guess you could really say I put my money where my mouth was when I listed that as number one on my thing I want Lionel to bring back. Well, you can't say I didn't mean it. We'll put it that way. So, yeah, that's the story of the Hiawatha. There is I will do a video on the triplex superset. That is a long video because there's a lot I want to talk about it, but I am working on it. So yeah. So I'm killing it with support. I don't know what that means. Oh, you mean supporting Lionel? Yeah, I'm definitely supporting Lionel. Although buying, yeah. So, so let's go to some of these questions. There's a whole bunch of questions, and so that took a long time to answer that Hiawatha question. But now you understand the magnitude of my OCD syndrome with the Hiawatha, and that's, I think Lisa will testify that fits right in with my mentality. I've always been the kind of collector where I've been like, well, now I got to get them all. Like when I was a kid and you'd see the toy commercial on TV where they'd show you the whatever it was, and they said, collect them all. Well, I always wanted to do that, whether it was the Star Wars glasses at McDonald's, or the Smurfs when I was a kid, they did Smurf glasses at McDonald's, or the California raisins when Hardee's did those. When I was a kid, I always wanted to collect them all. I didn't always succeed because when I was a kid, my parents had to buy the stuff, but so I was at their mercy. But it's always been there in my DNA. I'm a collector. Anyway, oh wow, okay. So let's answer some more of these questions. Do you ever do HO scale custom runs? I have no plans to do a custom run HO model, mainly because I really don't know that much about HO. I'm sort of an amateur when it comes to HO. I don't really run HO that much. I have a small loop of HO in my garage, but like, I won't say I won't ever do it, but I don't have any plans to right now. And if I did do something, it would probably something very simple, like a box car or something. Eric, if you were able to order MTH models, the obscure MTH locomotives, which one would you get? I would love for MTH to bring out some of their obscure stuff. I've said it a million times. I'd like them to bring back the weed sprayer set. I'd like them to bring back a lot of their electrics, like the DD1 and uh, the the T what is it, the T1 or T5, all those Penske electrics and all that stuff, New York Central Electrics. MTH did more electrics than anybody, and I wish they would bring those back. They don't because they're not as popular, but I wish they would bring them back because I love electrics. Even though I don't have catenary, I love electrics. Let's see here. Are you interested at all in the new HO Burks from Lionel? I guess not really. I've got one from a set that I got years ago, but again, HO is not really my main thing. So yeah. Um, did you ever think that you'd be able to have your own custom run made? No. I mean, that's an interesting question because it's no. The answer, I guess, the answer is no. But the thing is, it's a lot easier to get custom runs made these days than it was years and years ago. And so, um, I mean, everybody's doing it. I think I've told people I think this is the age of the custom run. Probably even more so with these smaller releases. You're going to see even more. Muffins and Legacy. I mean, they all do all these crazy custom runs, and so it's not as hard as you would think. Um, but it is really nice that there's enough people out there to make it happen, which is really cool. Um, it was I've gotten used to it now, but when we got the first one made, the ES44, that was kind of I was kind of awestruck for I was kind of in a daze for a while when it finally arrived. I was like, I can't believe this is sitting on my layout, but um, pretty cool. I don't think we're going to do any custom runs from the new release. I think we're going to take a little break, wait for the Hudson and the passenger cars and the TOFC and the boxcar. Probably might do another announcement maybe at the beginning of next year, depending on what happens, or maybe depending on what Lionel releases later. But for the moment, I think the passenger cars are what we're doing, and take it from there. Um, Lionel deserves praise for trying to navigate the current crisis. That said, quality control has been a nagging concern. Um, Quality control is an issue. A lot of people blame the quality problems on it being made in China, which is not very fair. China makes excellent stuff. They really know what they're doing. The thing about China is that they will, you have to police them. If you don't police them, they will make it as cheaply as possible. And so uh, you have to have people on the ground to police it and make sure it's being made right. But if you tell them to, and if you make them, they will make extremely high quality stuff. So made in China does not mean garbage. Anybody who tells you that doesn't know what they're talking about. Um, Now, Lionel, I think they have more quality control issues than, say, MTH or Atlas. And I don't know why that is. I think, I mean, one thing is you have to consider the volume. Lionel also makes more trains than MTH and Atlas combined, probably. A normal Lionel catalog is huge. I mean, what other Lionel is the only train maker that releases gigantic catalogs like that. No, the stuff that Lionel did today, that little release, that's what all the other train makers do. The third rail catalog, it's not going to be a big book. Atlas, they don't do a big book. They do a little pamphlet. So they make a lot more stuff. And so that means you're going to have more issues than if you only made 10 things. If you're making 500 things, there's more of a chance of issues creeping in there. And so, yeah, I mean, everybody knows they have quality control issues. Now, this guy says, what has your personal experience been? I've had issues. A lot of people think that they think that Lionel sends me the best ones. That's not true. I buy from a train dealer just like everybody else, so I have the same chance of getting a dud as anybody else. The and I have had engines with problems. The difference is that I don't freak out about it. I don't get online and start bad mouthing Lionel about it and freaking out and screaming and yelling and saying I'm never buying Lionel again. I just deal with it, and I think part of that is having a good train dealer. I buy through Legacy Station, and so anytime I've had something that was bad that I couldn't fix, they took it back. So I had the most recent one was the Pensy I1 that Lionel released, that steam engine. The first one I got had a problem with lurching because of the gear setup. It had lurching issues, and so I told Legacy Station, and they let me swap it for another one they had. It was a different. It was the one with the longer tender, but that one runs fine, and so they swapped it for me, and no big deal. So it's important to buy from a good train dealer who's going to have your back when something goes wrong. Um, the, the other um, the other thing, and I was just talking to Lisa about this. I actually wrote about it, about the Hiawatha. Um, the Hiawatha, the let me show you something. Let's go back to the old screen share. Now, a lot of you guys already know about this, but we'll do it. We'll go over it anyway. So the Hiawatha, the first one that I bought, mind you. Oh, where is it? There it is. Okay, so the first Hiawatha that I got was number 4. And if you look at the catalog, number 4 is the only one of these. All the others have a single headlight on top, but number 4 has the single headlight on top and then a flashing Mars light, a red Mars light down below. And when it arrived, they got it wrong. There was a mix up at the factory or something like that. And what happened was there were 2 white lights. The top one was flashing instead of being steady, and the bottom one was a flashing white light. So not only was the flashing light in the wrong place, but it was the wrong color. And a lot of people freaked out about it and badmouthed Lionel and everything. You know what I did? I fixed it. I opened the engine. The only thing that was required to fix it was a 3mm red LED, which I already have in my train repair stuff. I keep a stock of LEDs, of various sizes of LEDs. So I had a 3mm red LED, and I swapped the position of the light, so the flashing light was now on the bottom, and then I swapped the white LED for a red, and it was fixed. And took about 20 minutes, and it was all fixed. And I moved on, and I love the engine, and I love it so much, obviously, that I bought 7 more. So obviously, it didn't sour me on the Hiawatha, and I moved on. And I think I wrote about this, and I just reviewed the Hiawatha for OGR magazine. I just submitted my review, and in that review, I addressed that, and I said, a lot of people don't like to hear this. They don't like to hear anything that they don't want to hear. Nobody does. But like I said, look, the long and short of it is that if you're going to be in this hobby long term, you have to get okay with working on your trains, with doing simple repairs and maintenance on your train. Now, there's some stuff you might not be able to do. Like, we're not all Sid from Sid's Trains. We're not all electrical geniuses who can work on circuit boards and stuff. But knowing how to fix a loose wire, knowing how to replace a bad LED or a LED that's the wrong color, knowing how to open up your engine, and just do basic stuff. And a lot of people don't want to do that. They either don't want to do it or they don't know how to do it. And my advice to them is that if you're going to be in this hobby long term, you need to get okay with doing repairs on your trains. Okay. And that is not unique to this hobby. People who collect cars, I challenge you to find a car collector who doesn't know how to work on their cars. Every person who collects cars eventually learns how to do, maybe not everything, but they learn how to do the basic stuff, how to rebuild a carburetor or replace the brakes, change the oil, all that kind of stuff. Okay. If you're into computers like I used to be, you know how to build your own computer and swap a power supply or upgrade the RAM and stuff like that. You don't need to take it to a shop. If you're in a hobby long term, you need to know how to do those, how to work on your own stuff. So if you're going to be in this hobby long term, my advice is to learn this stuff. And you just start off simple. Start off by opening up one of your box cars, opening up a caboose, then open up a caboose that has lights on it, then open up maybe a diesel, and then maybe later a steam. You don't even have to work on it. Just open it up and look inside and just see everything and then put it back together. Learn these things. Get yourself learn how to solder, learn how to rewire, how to replace broken wires, how to replace LEDs. It's not rocket science, and it'll save you so much heartache in the long run. I only send my stuff or back to Lionel or bring it back to Legacy Station as a last resort. That is, if it's something like with the i1, it was a gearing problem. I tried to fix it. I couldn't. I tried adding some shims. I just couldn't get it working. I had to take it back. But I tried to fix it. Okay. So really, you have to learn how to work on your trains. If you don't know how, you need to learn. And you learn by doing. You just learn, open it up. You might break it. You will break stuff. Now, let me put that out there. You will break stuff. If you work on trains long enough, you will fry an engine. I have fried several boards and engines over the years and had to sheepishly call Lionel or go on their site and order an expensive replacement board. It will happen, but that's how you learn. That's how you learn. You learn what not to do as much as you learn what to do. And so that's my recommendation. Now, in terms of the quality control, the big thing you hear from people when you start talking about this stuff is they say, I paid $2,000 for that engine, or in the Hiawatha's case, $1,400. There shouldn't, for that much money, it should be perfect. It should work exactly as it should when I get it out of the box. And yeah, that's true. It should. But you know what? It doesn't. And you can either cry about it or you can just do something about it. And I should point out that the expense of something does not eliminate the chances for problems. Let me give you a perfect example. I bought a new car a few years ago. It was a $62,000 car. Okay, $62,000. You would think for $62,000 they should get everything right, shouldn't they? There should be no problems with a $62,000 car. But guess what? 6 months, a little while later after I owned it, there was a recall. I had to take it in and drop it off at the shop for 3 days while they dropped the battery. It's an EV. While they dropped the battery and replaced the faulty. It didn't break on me, but it could break, and they replaced the faulty part. It's a $62,000 car. How could that happen? Well, recalls happen all the time. There are cars that cost $500,000, $1 million that have recalls. How does that happen? Well, it happens because, whether it's a Ferrari or a Ford or a Lionel train, they all have the same thing, same problem, okay? Which is that they are designed and built by human beings, imperfect human beings, and they make mistakes. And it doesn't matter how much the item costs, that people make mistakes. And that's just the way it is. And one thing that I pointed out in the article that I wrote was that, and this is going to sound a little weird, in a world where robots and AI are increasingly taking over so much of our lives, they're taking over our music, they're taking over our jobs. I find a weird comfort in the fact that an imperfect human built my Hiawatha and made a mistake. And it kind of puts a smile on my face. So, you know what? That's how I look at it. You gotta be positive about it and appreciate it. And whether they're Chinese people in a factory or Americans in a factory, people make mistakes. The catalog had the right image. The design specs probably had the right image, and the factory just goofed. They just got it backwards, and they didn't catch it. So, yeah. So if there can be a recall on a $62,000 car, or on a $200,000 car, or on a multi hundreds of $1 million jet made by Boeing, or a fighter aircraft, there can be a problem with a $2,000 or a $1,400 train. So you just have to keep it in perspective. Sorry, I was going off on that, but that's, you got to keep it in perspective. Okay, let's go back to the questions. Now, someone says my issue is not delivering the product as advertised. Um, yeah, I mean, sometimes, okay, see, we're going down that rabbit hole. Let me just put it this way. Lionel has a storied history of showing things in the catalog and then having them show up a little bit differently, or not show up that way. I mean, like, even in the post-war years, there was stuff like the Black Bonnet Santa Fe that originally was a mistake in a Lionel catalog in the 1950s, I think, or 60s, where they just, it was looked wrong in the catalog. It didn't look that way when it showed up, but they depicted it wrong in the catalog. So it's not anything new. It it stuff happens. What are you gonna do? And again, it's not just Lionel. Every company does it. Apple came out with Apple Intelligence and said, "Oh, the iPhone 16 has Apple Intelligence." Well, if you keep up with that world, Apple Intelligence has kind of not delivered as it should. Even though they said they had all these commercials on TV, Apple Intelligence, and where is it? It's kind of lackluster. So yeah. All right. So what are your initial thoughts on the Phantom? I love the Phantom. I like those Star Wars ones. I don't want to go down the Star Wars rabbit hole, but those look cool. I really like the Phantom. I one of these days I'd like. At York last year, I almost bought a TMCC Phantom set that was made back in the day. Yes. Lisa has joined me. Hang on a second.
No, don't show me. I'm tired.
Okay. Eric, why is it called the Hiawatha? You'd have to ask Milwaukee Road in the 1930s. That was back in the day when, before it was not politically incorrect to name things after Indians, Native Americans. So everything was named after Native Americans. You had the Super Chief, the Santa Fe Super Chief. You had the Hiawatha. You had the Pocahontas. Sports teams. It was just a thing. It used to be a thing. Things were just named after Native Americans. Now it's not politically correct, which I think is silly, but that's the way it is. I sometimes I wonder. I'm like, I wonder if Lionel will eventually stop making these Indian themed trains. If they'll cancel that. Anyway, title suggestion for the Hiawatha review. Too many Hiawathas. My tentative title right now is going to be hobbyist goes insane and buys every Hiawatha from the catalog. How are you doing in the aftermath of your surgery? I'm fine. It's the new knee is good. Do you still have nickel plate 765? Yeah, of course. I rarely sell trains these days. I used to sell trains every now and then back in the day, but I stopped doing that about 7 years ago, something like that. I'm not saying I'll never sell any again, but usually when I sell something, I end up regretting it later on, and so I kind of put a stop to that. So if you've seen something in a previous video or a previous review, 9 times out of 10, I still have it, with the exception of Weaver stuff, which was a lot of that was they loaned to me and I had to give it back, unfortunately. Have you ever regretted getting a certain train? No, I've regretted selling trains, but I haven't regretted getting one. How many trains do I don't, how many trains? I need to do an update video. The last engine count video, it was over 500. Um, if I had to guess now, the engine count is probably at or near 600. The rolling stock I've never counted. One of these days, I told Lisa, I said, one of these days I'm going to recruit her and we're going to do an inventory of all my rolling stock. And we can do a video about how much rolling stock is there. But the rolling stock, there's probably well over 1,000 pieces of rolling stock. But the engines are probably getting near 600 or so. Maybe. I'll do an update video probably later this year. What got you into the hobby? If you go to ericstrains.com, it kind of tells that story. But basically, my dad had a Lionel train set when he was a kid in the 50s. And when I was a kid, he talked about it a lot when I was a kid, but I never saw it. He just built up this legend in my mind about this Lionel train set that he had when he was a kid. And then I had an HO set when I was really little, but then he talked about this Lionel train set. And then when I was 14, my grandparents died, his parents. And so when they were clearing out their house, I made a beeline to the basement and dug around until I finally found his old train set, which his mom had thrown into some boxes. It was in bad shape, but I got it. And that's when I started learning how to fix trains, is because I had to, because they were old and they'd been in a box for many, many years and they needed work. And so I started working on them. Are you ever going to go bigger, get a bigger house with a bigger layout? Lisa, what do you think about that?
Yes.
We will probably have to get a bigger house at some point because we're pretty cramped in here. Cramped in here. Lisa has a lot of stuff. I have a lot of stuff, and now we live together, and so there's a lot of stuff, and so we're either going to have to add on to this house or get a new house at some point. Now, when I do get a new house, I will probably build a layout that is actually maybe a little bit smaller than the one I have now. Bigger? You think bigger? Depends on what kind of house we get.
2,000 square feet.
But the one thing I don't like about my layout now, I've talked about this before, is that I made the layout as big as I could make it in my basement. And if I had it to do over again, I would make it probably about 20% smaller, so that there was room to hang out, so that I could put a couch and a TV and stuff. I mean, there's TVs down there, but there's nowhere to really hang out down there. And I would like to have that. And so if I was doing it again, I would make it if I was doing it again in this space, I would make it slightly smaller. So whatever house we get in the future, I'm going to make it so that there's room to hang out. Whether that means making it smaller, it might be a bigger house, and so it might be a bigger layout, but there's going to be room to hang out the next time I do a layout. So, what's my favorite small steamer? Why, my favorite small steamer is the Eric's Trains. Where is it? There it is. The Eric's Trains 460, the 10-wheeler. That's my favorite train. Easy answer. Will you get a legacy train for your wife? She already has a legacy train. Lisa bought the Christmas Hiawatha. What do you think about the third rail Erie builds? I'm not. I don't know. I've got two third rail things on order. I've got the Santa Fe Super Chief 6 car set, and I've got the Siemens Charger. Those are the two things I have on order with third rail right now. Do you think that sticking to a quarterly format for catalogs is a better approach for Lionel? No, I don't. I think we all like the big, thick Lionel catalogs that they do twice a year. I hope they return to it after this tariff nonsense stabilizes or goes away. So, yeah, I mean, if they have to do that, fine. But I think everybody likes the big catalogs. I mean, that's a classic, the big Lionel catalog. Everybody gets, it's always, everyone gets all excited, even today, a week or two before it's released, you start hearing all the rumbling, and then people like, their train dealers will send them a list, and someone gets the list of what's in the catalog, and then people start whispering about it, and saying, I know what's in the catalog. I mean, I knew what was in this catalog 2 weeks ago, but I didn't want to blab about it because it doesn't. I'd rather keep it a mystery, but but if you're in good with your dealer, you can usually get a price list and stuff like that, and you find out what's in the catalog. You won't see the pictures or anything, but you can find out what's going to be in the because the dealers have to get the prices in their systems before the catalog drops. But it's so fun, like all the hype that starts going around in the week or two before the catalog drops. Everybody's what do you think's going to be in there? Or what should be in there? And everybody's got their own opinion of what should be in there, what shouldn't be in there. And then everybody starts with their negativity and criticizing everything. And that doesn't start until it drops. Before it drops, everyone's all optimistic and excited. And then once it drops, then I stay away from the forums and all that stuff because it gets really poisonous. I mean, the people on these forums and Discord too, to some extent, these people are so toxic. You really have to stay clear of these people because, and I'm guilty of getting sucked into it from time to time, where I'll get in these chats and then people start complaining about everything, and pretty soon you're in there too complaining, and then you have to step back and be like, oh my god, what am I doing? It's you know you have you have to back off from those things right after the catalog. Like today, if you go on any forum or chat group today, everybody's complaining and whining and crying about everything, every single thing in the release that Lionel put out, and it's like, guys, it's okay. Let me see if there's one more question, and then we'll start wrapping it up. A lot of questions here. What's my favorite tin plate engine or set? Okay, well, that's a little easier to answer because I don't have as much tin plate. I don't know if I love the 400E. I mean, you can't see it; it's off screen, but it's over there. The 400E up there in the corner. That certainly is a favorite. My favorite tin plate train, if you want to know, is the one that has my voice on it, the one that MTH made. It's a Southern 400E and Southern Crescent. It's a 400E in all the passenger cars. It's way back there. You can't see it, but it's a standard gauge set that MTH did. I think it was the last Lionel corporate tin plate that MTH did before the license expired, and it has my voice on it. I did a video on it years ago if you want to see it, but yeah, that's easy. That's my favorite. Let's see here. When's the honeymoon? I think we'll probably do a extended honeymoon, like to Europe or somewhere, or Japan or somewhere next year. After we got married, I think we took 10 days off of work, and we just sort of chilled out. I had some stuff planned, but then Lisa was kind of like, "Can we just chill out and just hang out in the house and do nothing?" And so that's what we did. So we got a lot of work done. I got a lot of work done on the way out and around the way out. Work on the train vault that I'll be doing a video on soon. So yeah. Anyway, do I have a favorite post-war locomotive? That's a hard one. I don't have a lot of post-war, but I mean, I don't know. Um, I don't know if I can answer that without looking at some reference materials. I mean, the Santa Fe F units from 1950 are great, but that's an easy answer. So, um, can I do another video of an Amtrak locomotive? Yes, I have the third rail Siemens Charger on order. It's an Amtrak Siemens Charger, and when that arrives, which I think is going to be this fall, I will certainly do a review on it. So yeah. Anyway, so please try to get your voice on the Hudson. I'm trying. I'll just leave it at that. No guarantees. Lionel is very secretive and they don't like anybody doing recordings, or they're very weird about their sounds. MTH wasn't. MTH just, I sent them the recordings, they put them on the engine, and boom, it was done. So, but Lionel is not like that. They're very, very protective of it. This is a good question. What do I think of the custom ACL Hiawatha that the train loft did? I loved it. I love it. I almost bought it. When I started on this whole Hiawatha rampage, I almost bought it. I still might. I don't know if he still has any, but the reason I didn't buy it, the reason I didn't pull the trigger on it, was because he didn't do any matching aluminum passenger cars. He has some ACL passenger cars, but they're just normal passenger cars. He didn't go the whole course and get matching aluminum passenger cars. If he had done that, I would have ordered one all day. But without it, I was like, it's kind of incomplete in my mind. And who knows when Lionel is going to do the aluminum passenger cars again? I mean, it's going to be years, probably. And so that's why I passed on it. But, if he has one at York or something, I might cave and get one. It's a beautiful engine. I love it. So, anyway, so I guess we'll wrap it up. But in summary, I like the new July release. Given all the tariff nonsense, I think Lionel did the only logical thing they could: a staggered release, a conservative release, and hopefully more will come in the future. Hopefully the tariff situation will stabilize, or they'll be able to move more stuff to Vietnam, and we'll be able to get more stuff. But yeah, I think they did the only logical thing. I think the stuff that's in there is good. I think the Santa Fe Super Chief Superset is fantastic. The price is high, but in terms of features, they put everything in there. I mean, you couldn't ask for more in terms of the train itself. And so that's why I'm going to order one, because it's a fantastic, fantastic set. So, but yeah, so all in all, I liked it, and hopefully we'll be doing this again in a few months. I would guess they're probably going to come out with another release probably in September or so. That would be my guess, and we'll see. Hopefully there'll be some Steam. My guess would probably be there'll be limited Steam in there, but we'll have to see. Yeah, I think just be supportive of Lionel. Help them through this. Help all the train makers through this. Lionel is especially vulnerable because they're the highest priced train maker. It's like being a Cadillac. It's like being it's like if you were a Cadillac dealer or a Mercedes dealer right when the Great Depression hit. It would hit them the hardest. And so it's a lot for everyone. They're all working the best they can. They're all affected by it. Atlas, Third Rail, MTH, everybody's affected by it. And so let's just gather around them and support them. And my only request to Lionel would be a little more transparency. I would like it if they would come out and just say, hey, we don't know what's going on with these tariffs. We're just doing the best we can. Here's what we got right now. More coming later. I think that would go a long way with getting sympathy and getting people to understand what's going on. But other than that, I think they're doing the best they can, and I think we need to support it. So anyway, I think we're going to call it quits. We're right at 9:30, just past 9:30. So I hope you guys enjoyed the show. And I've got more videos coming soon. And that Hiawatha video in all its glory will probably come as soon as everything arrives. So give it another month or so, and then I'll be ready to do that. But yeah, that's going to be a killer video. Anyway, but that'll be it. Thanks, guys, for showing up and asking your questions. Thanks to Tony and Zach for doing the moderation. I appreciate it, guys. And I will see everyone later. Have a great night and a great week, and stay safe and enjoy the trains. Later.